Well, who did you want to be when you were a kid? Who did you want to be when you grew up?
So I signed up to go to school to study business. This is before I gave my life to Christ and was asking God those bigger questions about calling and his plan and purpose. But I made that decision for business because I assumed maybe there's money there and you got to make a living, I guess. When I first started ministry, I focused on sports programs and maybe starting sports outreach programs. That was connected to my passion. God was able to use that. And we saw many people come to Christ in Toronto through these sports outreach programs,
Yeah.
kind of like how I became a Christian, through that one program. But it didn't stop there. Over the years, it seemed like those passions start to grow or in some cases change. And I developed this whole new passion of starting ministries from scratch, which funny enough connects with my business background of wanting to be an entrepreneur and ministry startups and whatnot, everything deeply connected. And then what happened from there, I started up these ministries. Well, by default, I have to speak. So all of a sudden I get thrown into speaking. I used to hate speaking. I used to hate public speaking more than anything. People think I'm crazy when I tell them that. I hated it. But over a couple of years, that passion grew. And I really felt God was able to use that to direct my steps again. And then I started pursuing more of the speaking part of ministry. Again, one step at a time. And here I am. Over the last 10 years, I've been traveling full time as a speaker. And I think I love what I do more than ever. And God seems to be opening up more doors more than ever. But I could not have mapped this out 18 years ago.
Right.
It really was, what are you passionate about right now? How can you use that to glorify God? And really, again, take one step at a time. And God knows where it might take you.
I am 100% with you, my friend. You pretty much told my story there, not that it was baseball and business, but God uses everything in your life. He doesn't waste a thing.
Mhm.
And I mean, I agree with you that you do the next thing, really, do the next thing right in front of you and watch what God does with that. For me, it was like education and music. And, I wasn't like I was trying to be a TV host or, do what it just like you do the next thing that God opens the door to. And I think so much of my own experience in discovering what is God's will for my own life, my own calling, it's a combination of faith, stepping out when I was unsure, stepping out when I was afraid, stepping out just being willing to do that next thing, that next door that opened. Like you said, you never wanted to be a speaker. So I honestly, that it does make you laugh because I mean, look at you. That's what you do, right? It's not all about necessarily, you could never map out the plan God has for your life, but you can do the next thing. And that next step of obedience, that faith step, God loves that. He works with faith, He loves faith. And I think faith is practical. I think it's action and obedience, just like you said. Thank you for sharing that. Like, it's so inspiring to hear your own journey of faith, but just your journey of learning what God's will is. What would you say to somebody that maybe they're older, they're looking back on their life, and maybe they feel like maybe they miss God's assignment or his unique call on their life? What would you say to them?
So for anyone who's older, I say, listen, like you still have purpose. You still have years ahead of you. And maybe ask that question like, God, what do you want me to do right now? What doors are in front of me? What's that one step I can take today? What's that passion that I have now that maybe I did not have 20 years ago? You never know what God can put on your heart. But I say keep looking forward and go one step at a time, but you did not miss out. God still has some really cool things, for you right here and moving forward.
Right on. Look forward and live each day asking God that simple question. What do you want to do with me today? Until we leave this earth, our assignment's never done, right? We just are to love God more every day. I think you really hit on the head with that. Like to love God more every day, to be in
Love it.
relationship with Him every day. It's a great adventure. He doesn't leave you sitting on the sidelines. He loves to work with us in relationship with Him. So thank you for that reminder, Mike. Thanks for your story. And God bless you and all that you're doing now as you're back out on the road. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
Yeah, right now I'm on tour right now until summertime, basically, all over the country, speaking. And this tour I'm doing right now is my own little tour, but then I partner with other organizations, on the side. And yeah, it's just really amazing just to be back out there, sharing Jesus with people, trying to encourage them, and doing it in front of real people, live in front of churches and schools and audiences. It's just so good to finally be back.
Well, you're doing what God has equipped you to do. And thank you. Thank you for obeying him. Thank you for loving him more and loving people more by using your gifts. If you want to book Mike, go to 700club.ca and we'll have all the links there and you can find Mike's info there. Thanks again, Mike. We really appreciate you and thanks for taking the time to share your story with us.